What the hell is going on at DC Studios? Yesterday, the Hollywood Reporter and Variety had two separate exclusives. One of them had an exclusive that a V for Vendetta series was in development at HBO and DC Studios. The other publication had another exclusive saying there was going to be a direct spin off from James Gunn's Superman movie focusing on Jimmy Olsen and other Daily Planet characters that weren't Lois Lane and Clark Kent. Now, when we look deeper at these articles, there was no quotes from DC Studios or Warner Brothers Discovery themselves. In the article, the author of each article, and one of those authors at the Hollywood Reporter, was Boris Kitt, their head reporter. This is a journalist of great respect and great reputation, but don't let that fool you. So both of the authors of the articles said that Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios weren't available for comment. They refused to comment about these projects. If these were official, truthful projects, why wouldn't the studio comment on them with pride? Because these reports have no base in reality. I know this industry. My father, who worked for a studio in Hollywood when I was a young man, taught me everything about this industry there is to know. And nothing's changed. They do the same things they've always done. Let me explain to you what actually happens with situations like this when a studio isn't available to comment about a report from Access Media. Let me tell you what happened. Someone at DC Studios or Warner Brothers Discovery spoke to the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and said to them, "We want each of you to report on these projects, but we will not clarify or confirm these projects because they're not real. They're just being announced to create interest and intrigue in the DCU because it's a dying brand. It's not a dying brand, it's a dead brand. It died before it started. There is no V for Vendetta project. There is no Jimmy Olsen focused Superman movie spin-off show. It's a lie. But what happens is the studios, because basically what you've got to understand is the Hollywood Reporter and Variety work for the studios. They're not independent journalistic publications anymore. The truth is, these 30, 40, 50-year-old, publications have always been in collusion with Hollywood. And it's even worse today. Because James Gunn thinks you're stupid. He doesn't think you'll question things. People like Warner Brothers Discovery think you're fucking stupid. So if Variety and Boris Kitt at the Hollywood Reporter tell you there's a V for Vendetta show in development and a Jimmy Olsen Superman movie spin-off, you're going to take it as read. But the studio or James Gunn hasn't confirmed these projects. Let's go back to the announcement about a Sergeant Rock movie that was meant to be directed by a critically acclaimed writer-director. I told you from the beginning that that movie would never happen. Surprise, surprise, no shit Sherlock. That movie isn't happening no matter what they fucking say. James Gunn, I don't think it ever really commented on Sergeant Rock. Maybe in the latter era of that movie. It's not happening. Never going to happen. It never had any basis in fucking reality. They lie to people about projects for hype to keep people interested. The reality is nobody cares and no one's interested in the DCU. At least everyone used to speak about the DCEU. Whether it was surrounded in negative conversations or positive conversations, it was a very divided kind of franchise, but people were always talking about the DCEU. They were at the very least interested in it. Nobody cares about the DCU. Let me explain to you what probably happened. They were checking social media and there was no hype around the DCU. We've got to do something. Let's announce these two bullshit projects. So, V for Vendetta, in my opinion, and the Jimmy Olsen Superman movie spin-off are bullshit. They're never happening. That's why WB and DC Studios and James Gunn weren't available for comment. It's a blag. It's a con. This is what you're dealing with today. They think you're fucking stupid. Now, I don't really care about streaming shows anymore because I do not subscribe to streamers. I have access to my brother's Apple. I think Apple is the best streaming service because they're throwing money at talented people and they're giving them artistic freedom, which is brilliant. Well done, Apple. This is why I would like them to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. At the very least, it looks like they care about the medium of entertainment. James Gunn does not care about the medium of art and entertainment. He tells you, the fans, this film isn't real. It's just a film. These characters ain't real. This TV show isn't real. These TV show characters aren't real. We know they're not fucking real, you pleb. But we take these things to our hearts. We want to believe in them. We want to have personal experiences from these characters. When I watch an episode of Friends, I'm sitting there on the sofa at Central Perks with them. It's like they're my friends as well. That's the fucking point. We know they're not fucking real. But it's your job to make us feel that it's real. Entertainment, since its beginnings and foundations, has uplifted lonely people, right? It doesn't do that anymore because it's just making shallow, soulless content. They're not films anymore. They're not TV show episodes. They're just content. That's the fucking difference, my friends. So there's not going to be a V for Vendetta show. There's not going to be a Jimmy Olsen Superman movie spin-off. The whole thing was a facade. And the access media sites, The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Warner Brothers Discovery, and DC Studios most probably were in collusion to create this facade, to create some hype, to create some interest, because they know there is none. They're in big trouble. But we need a deeper discussion, because they're supposed to be releasing a film called Supergirl next year and a TV show called Lanterns next year. It is my assertion that both of these projects could be shelved as a tax write-off because whoever buys Warner Brothers Discovery will not be interested in them. But I do expect very shortly to see trailers online and publicly and in cinemas for both Lanterns and Supergirl. And the public response to both these projects will be very, very interesting. David Zaslav and James Gunn and Peter Safran just can't accept the fact that they've failed. Because when you don't care about what you're doing, when you don't feel the avenue of entertainment and art and storytelling and conceiving characters and stories, when you're not passionate about that thing, this is what happens. You create an empty vessel, an empty vase, right? A soulless body of work. That's what James Gunn's Superman film actually was. An empty body of work that meant fuck all. That borrowed themes from other better creatives like Zack Snyder, Dick Donner, Tom Mankiewicz, and so on. He doesn't care. Doesn't care. He doesn't care about Superman. He doesn't care about DC. This is why he's failed. Because we want people to make good shit. And you can only make good art when you care and you're passionate. That's where true talent comes from, passion. If you've got no passion, you can't make this stuff. It's not like working in a supermarket. It's not like being an orderly in a hospital, right? Anyone can do those jobs, right? You don't have to care about those jobs. But to make art, it has to fucking mean something to you, right? That's why Guillermo del Toro is a great fucking director, because he deeply cares about the art form. Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, all the great filmmakers and artists. Zack Snyder cares about his shit. I was watching Man of Steel yet again last night. I'm still in awe of that fucking film. The art, the little documentary on my Blu-ray. When you see Snyder and Goya and everyone, and Amy Adams and Henry and all the cast talking about the film, They're passionate. They cared about what they're fucking doing. That's why it was a great fucking movie. Michael Shannon cared about the character he was developing in General Zod. That's why he's the best comic book movie villain of all time. Yes, better than Heath Ledger's Joker. And you can clip that, and I don't care who sees it, what people think. Michael Shannon's General Zod is absolutely fucking goated. I'm not here for likes or views. I'm here to say my piece. I formed this channel because I was fed up of other people speaking bullshit. I'm fed up of Mama's Geeky. I'm fed up of Brandon Davis. I'm fed up of Shields kissing the arse and blowing smoke up the industry. A corrupt industry who's not interested in making you cry or making you laugh, making you have personal experiences, and I'm fucking fed up with it. I am angry about it, and it has to fucking end. We need to take a bulldozer to English-speaking Western entertainment because it simply doesn't care anymore. It used to care. There's still like maybe 15% of good people in New Hollywood. It simply isn't a fucking enough. So I wouldn't hold my breath about getting a V for Vendetta HBO show or a Jimmy Olsen Superman movie spin-off because it's not happening, right? You'll probably never hear James Gunn refer to the V for Vendetta show. Maybe you will. Maybe he'll start getting panicky and trying to pretend that the lies are true. But I don't believe that we will ever see a V for Vendetta show produced by Gunn and Safran, or a Jimmy Olsen show produced by Gunn and Safran. Why they think people want to see a Jimmy Olsen show, I don't know. They really are fucking stupid. If you want to lie about something that's fucking goated, right? Who is going to be interested? Who wants a Jimmy Olsen show? Now, let's look back at James Gunn's Superman, a woke movie that hates straight white males. Let's look at his Superman, an angry straight white male. Let's look at his Lex Luthor, an angry, shouty, straight white male. And Jimmy Olsen, a straight white male who treats women badly, right? You know, he's a womanizer. He's a ladies' man. They all love him, right? You see the theme here. This geezer, James Gunn, could have stepped outside of himself, his own body, and made an epic movie, an epic Superman movie, a beautiful movie with something to say. He didn't do that, right? He failed us. You, Mr. Gunn, work for us. You, New Hollywood, work for us. We don't work for you. You may not understand this, but you work in a consumer-based business and industry. You do fucking work for us. I, and the people watching this video, are your fucking bosses. That's how it works. You don't get to tell us how to feel or how to think. You're supposed to make good shit. But you think we're so fucking stupid that we'll gobble up any shit you give to us. So no, you're not going to see a V for Vendetta series, and you're not going to see a Jimmy Olsen Superman movie spin-off. Absolutely not. It's bullshit. It's a facade. Yet again, they insult the public's intelligence. And they insult my intelligence. There's a reason I went from calling these videos the DCU Daily to the DCEU Daily. Because I'm done with the DCU. The DCU is done. It's a defunct franchise. There's a bigger future for the DCEU with Zack Snyder than there is for Gunn's DCU. Yet again, it was Veterans Day and he posted a Man of Steel picture, a picture of Henry Cavill dressed as Superman from the Man of Steel movie to celebrate and honour Veterans Day. What does that fucking tell you? Snyder is trying to tell us something. He could have posted a picture of the soldiers in Man of Steel. There's plenty of fucking soldiers in Man of Steel, right? There's plenty of military dudes and women in Man of Steel. Why didn't he just post a picture of them? Because he wants to make sure we understand that the Snyderverse is being revived. The Snyderverse is being restored, and I couldn't be happier. Because the reign of terror that people like James Gunn are holding over us is over. We want people like Snyder making DC movies because at least he fucking cares.